Good morning, thriving warriors and those who wish they were. Let's get this kind of set up a little bit better. Well, I am at the Jailhouse Motel or Hotel in Ely. And it's kind of a cool town. We got in last night at about 10:30, driving from Idaho, where we had good meetings all day. And so the topic of today is, what happened to yesterday? So yesterday I was in Idaho talking to a man about a horse. It was a good conversation, but there's a lot of haters out there, so we can't talk much about it. But then we had we, meaning Edward, son Edward, Corporal, and I drove to start heading south. In fact, it was a 5-hour meeting. We met for five hours. Good meeting. Then we headed south to see what Nevada's like. And here we are now. How was your day? And of course, we had our little experiment, which was what happens when we're not there. It seemed like everything went well, and I think there was a huge acknowledgement to Greg, because it seems like Greg got the 500 plus square foot wall, 20 feet high, painted. I haven't seen pictures. I haven't been on Signal, but if that is the case, which I'm sure it is, great job, Greg. You once again have exceeded expectations and lived up to the Ernest Shackleton standard of, at the end of the day, it's the old dogs that pull the sled. Which means what? Age and experience overcome youth and enthusiasm all the time, because the enthusiastic, youthful people, A, don't have all the answers, but B, so they don't have experience, but B, they don't have the stamina to keep going. So great job, Greg. And I think Jeff got a bunch of stuff done. Thank you to Charlene for driving people. And I understand from Jason that the yesterday morning breakfast event went well. So thank you to Justin and Jason for that. I will be speaking to Frank Esposito today, just to compare how we thought it went versus how he thought it went, which is always very important. And let's see what else to be thankful for. A lot. There's a lot. Change. Our mission is to get you from point A to point B. We're 4:10 into it. Let's just get to Seth Godin right now, because this is kind of relevant. It's easier when you know. And of course, the transcript of this that I'm reading is in the notes below, the description. It's easier when you know. Someone is going to ask you. They probably already have. A coworker, a boss, a politician, a kid. They'll ask you about sustainability, the climate, investments, choices to be made, about the future. So somebody's always going to be asking you questions. This is the Cliff Notes and guidebook for that moment. So when somebody asks you about those things, we make choices every day, choices about what to buy, whether to recycle something, what to drive, who to vote for, how to produce, and whether to go for more or less. We make choices about the future, often with considerable consequences. Okay, that's our life. As humans, we make choices all the time. We have no choice. We're condemned to choose, as I think Sartre said, existentialist, 20th century. But we're confused, often deliberately, by forces that would rather we didn't make up our own minds, who prefer that we don't learn what we need to learn. And sometimes we're confused simply as a side effect of a complicated situation made even more complicated by a flurry of charts, graphs, and opinions. So that could apply to the Roe versus Wade decision by the Supreme Court. We get confused. Whereas the decision was very simple. Let the states decide. It doesn't have anything to do with taking away women's reproductive rights. And it's kind of funny when women say it's my body, I get to decide. Why weren't they saying that? Why doesn't that apply to COVID-19, getting vaccinated? How come people weren't up in arms of saying my body, my right to choose? Why was it a mandate? You could get fired. You can't get on a plane. You can't do this. You can't do that. Because it turned out it was all a bunch of hooey. COVID numbers you see in the news, COVID numbers are as high or higher than ever before. And yet, because it's not in the news about the people dying, nobody thinks it's a big deal. And in fact, it really isn't. But the point is, we're confused. We need to make up our own minds. Period. That's it. That's his own thing. We need to make up our own minds. Now he goes into pitch a book, The Almanac. Over the last 9 months, I've learned an enormous amount, changed my mind about things I was sure were true. I've discovered thoughtful analysis and significant falsehoods. When I volunteered to help organize the Carbon Almanac, I didn't know that thousands of people in more than 90 countries would volunteer to join the process, and I'm so glad they did. And today's the day the book arrives in the US and Canada, with worldwide editions coming soon. We have 2 slogans, and you could apply this to work. So now, career services, moving from point A to point B. Don't take our word for it. So in other words, we need to learn for ourselves. Don't take our word for it. Go find out for yourself. And it's not too late. You're already being asked to decide. Knowing what's going on and being able to look up authoritative data gives you the chance to make up your own mind. There are more than 1,000 sources, all online, all organized in the Almanac. Isn't it better to know? And it isn't too late to make an impact, but we need to begin. We need to see the systems and make a decision about whether they're the systems we want to hand off to our kids. Okay, so this applies to work too. We need to make decisions. We need to begin. We need to see the systems and make a decision about whether they're the systems we want to hand off to our kids. I'm grateful to every person who contributed to this all volunteer effort, and to you for caring enough to learn about what's happening. I hope you'll get a few copies, share them, and join with people around the world to learn what's happening. Thank you. P.S. We're doing a worldwide book signing on Saturday. Okay, so cool. What does that mean? Charlene, what does that mean? Hannah, what does that mean? What? Well, the significant thing is people don't need to get paid to help. People will help if the purpose is worthwhile and they feel there's something in it for themselves. So, okay, we are at 9:36 into it. I can do boom. And I'm sure when I do boom, everybody who's watched this for a while knows what that means. That's a trigger. Trigger to unconscious behavior. What's the unconscious behavior? Boom means Navy SEAL maxim. And what is the Navy SEAL maxim? That boom is attached to. Matt, who did a very good job, excellent job working Sunday. Boom. The trigger is yesterday was the only easy day. So let's get out there, do something today, compare ourselves today to who we were yesterday. And with that, I will say end, cut.